Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming another what I spent in a week video. You guys absolutely loved my last one and were requesting a bunch of other ones. So here I am with an update. Quickly, if you're new to this channel, my name is Amy Rauch. I am 22 years old living here in Washington, DC. I work a full-time 9-to-5 as a graphic designer for a real estate agency. I make videos about everything from my work life to my personal life. So business professional outfit inspo, coffee runs, Trader Joe's runs, you know, the whole 9 yards. So I'd love if you guys would stick around and subscribe. And yeah. So jumping into this video, I basically have the same disclaimers as I did in my last one. I didn't have any major reoccurring expenses this week. I pay rent on the first of every month. I saw that some of you said I should divide it by 4 and add that to the total, but that's just not the way that my brain works with like financing and budgeting. So I don't personally love that idea. Plus I've talked about my rent on my channel before in my apartment video. So if you want to see how much I spend per month on rent, it's in that video. I do pay student loans every month and I move money to my savings account every month. So both of those things have already been taken care of for the month of November. So that's why they're not included in this video, because it just didn't happen to fall on those dates. I didn't include anything reimbursable from work just because I'll be getting that money back in full. So I don't count that. I just kind of consider it breaking even. And then lastly, I'm super careful with my spending and kind of track all of my finances all the time. So I know a lot of YouTubers said that they're not sure how much they spend in a week. I'm typically very aware of how much I spend in a week. So these videos don't really alter my spending. I just think that they're super interesting to watch. And there haven't been a ton in like the DC area in this age range. So yeah, with all that being said, let's jump in. So the first day I have written down was Sunday, November 10th, which was so long ago. I'm finally getting a chance to film this. It's the 26th. I'm not sure when you guys will be seeing this, but this feels like it was forever ago. Sorry if I'm looking at my phone more in this video. These purchases were so long ago that I don't remember the days as clearly as like when they happened, I guess. But Sundays are typically one of my more expensive days because I typically do my grocery shopping these days. This Sunday I started out getting brunch with a friend. My friend Annie ran a 10K and wanted to get brunch to celebrate after. So we went to this really cute bagel place in DC called Call Your Mother, and I got a bagel and a latte, which was $13.59, which for brunch in DC is not bad at all. I guess it wasn't a formal sit down brunch. It was more just like bagel and a coffee, but it was super good. There was a line out the door. If you're in the DC area, definitely check it out. After brunch, I had to run a couple errands that day, and Annie was kind enough to drive me to the mall, which saved me so much time. So I ended up paying for the parking there, which was only $3. So she came with me and we ran errands for a little bit, but I didn't end up spending money just because I had like gift cards and vouchers and stuff like that because they were all like YouTube related errands. I ended up taking the metro home from there, which the actual ride itself probably only cost $2 or $3. It fluctuates in DC. I know a lot of cities are just kind of like base fare prices, but DC, it depends on what time of day you go and what stations you get on and off. So the fare was probably between $2 or $3, but I just loaded up my Metro card with $15 that day to kind of carry me through the next week or so. When I got home, I just spent the day filming and editing videos. The last thing I did that day was grocery shop, which was $32.72. I'd say I normally spend about $60 on groceries, but I wanted to just like eat stuff down that I had in the fridge and the freezer that I knew I'd only eat if it was like the last thing available to me, if that makes sense. So my total for Sunday was $64.31. Moving on to Monday, November 11th, as you guys might remember from my last video, my weekday expenses are typically pretty low. I just kind of go to work and go home. There's not typically a ton in between there. I got my midday coffee, which you guys saw in my work week in my life. I don't even remember when that one was posted in comparison to this video, but you guys saw that. It was $4.25, which is a really good deal, I think. And then on my way home, I stopped at CVS because I needed nail polish remover, which was $2.64. So that brought my Monday total to $6.89, which I feel like is pretty typical for a weekday. The next day I wrote down was Tuesday, November 12th. I didn't actually spend any money at work that day. I did go to get a coffee, but my coworker treated, which was really sweet of her, so didn't spend any money throughout the day. but that night I ended up going to a bar with friends for like a trivia night, and there was this weird peak of like this week, basically like November probably 8th through 13th was so unbearably cold in DC. Like I'm filming this now on the 26th and it's really not bad out, but this week I don't know what, if it was just like a weird cold front or windy, it was absolutely unbearable outside. What I'm trying to say is that I took an Uber to the bar because it was way too cold to walk. I did take an Uber pool though, so this isn't going to be an Uber tragedy like my last what I spend in a week. So I Ubered to and from the bar. The first one was $5.36 and the second was $5.63. I spent $15 at the bar and I got a beer, and then I think I got pretzels for the table. I got some sort of appetizer to just kind of put on the table. So that brought my Tuesday total to $25.99, which is a little bit pricier for a weekday, but like I said, really great to spend time with friends. So totally worth it in my book. Moving on to Wednesday, November 13th. This was an expensive day for me. It was just a typical work day, but it just, I don't know, things got away from me, I guess. So I treated for coffee this day. So that was $10 with tip for the 2 drinks. And then we had a really big event that day, so I was kind of running around all day trying to set up the event. I got to the event space at like 10:30 in the morning and didn't end up leaving until I think 9 p.m. Around like 2 or so, I got really hungry, and I knew that we were having food at the event, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be the type of event where it's actually acceptable to eat. Do you know what I'm talking about? So I ran across the street and just picked up like a little thing of sushi, which was $5.45. Normally I'm really good about packing my lunch, but since I knew I'd be running around, I didn't want to bring food that would go bad, if that makes sense. So that's why I just bought the quick little snack. I ate that, had the event. It went really, really well. And then it ended around 9 o'clock, I want to say. So I ended up Ubering home because it was another one of those unbearably cold days. I had been in heels all day and was just absolutely exhausted. So that was $7.18. And then lastly, the Sunday before I started filming this video, I took photos and video with my friend Ian for some upcoming campaigns on my channel and to update my media kit and stuff like that. So he ended up charging me that day for everything because like he had sent all the deliverables, which was $100. Obviously that's not an everyday expense, but that happened to fall in this time period. And it's important to pay your friends, especially the creative ones. So that brought my Wednesday total to $122.63. That brings us to Thursday, November 14th. Thursday was a pretty average work day for me. I packed my lunch and I ended up being so busy at work that I didn't get coffee that day, which is super unlike me, but I guess I was just like in the zone working on things. So I didn't end up spending any money at work. And then my aunt and mom were in town, so they took me out to dinner and they treated, which was really nice of them. So I didn't end up spending any money on Thursday. So that brings us to Friday, November 15th, which cheers to the weekend and higher expenses. In full transparency and probably TMI, I really wasn't feeling well this day. So I went across the street to get a coffee and I got 6 shots in it just because I was feeling a little bit backed up and I figured that would kind of like flush everything out of me. So that ended up being $6.75, which is a lot of money for a latte, but it had a lot of shots in it. And then on the way home, I still wasn't feeling great. I felt better, but not like 100%. So I stopped at a CVS and picked up a ginger ale, which was $2.37. I ate dinner at home that night and just relaxed a little bit before going out. Me and my friends went to a few bars. At the first bar, I spent $11 and then I spent $10 at the second bar, which some of you will be very pleased to know because in my last video, I got so many comments about not paying for drinks, which was so funny. So I guess this was a week that I do pay for my drinks. But I didn't pay for any at the third bar, which was just like my friends picking up the tab. So I made a mental note to like make sure to pick up a round next time we all go out so that it like eventually evens out. I did take 2 Ubers that night. Both were $11.54, and that brought my Friday total to $53.20. And then last but not least, we have Saturday, November 15th. The Saturday was a super chill day for me. I woke up and made breakfast and coffee at home and just kind of hung out for the day. I did get charged for Spotify this day, which was $10.59. I was just talking about how I was still on the student plan in my last What I Spend in a Day video, and between that one and this one, I got yeeted from the student plan. So now I'm paying at $10.59 a month, but I really do think it's worth it. I use Spotify all the time for podcasts and music and getting ready in the morning, walking to work, sitting at work. Like, it's worth the subscription to me. Just a little bit of a bummer. And then the last thing I spent money on was groceries at the store. I spent $7.36. I just got like something to make for dinner that night because I just wasn't really feeling that well. I think I got a box of mac and cheese because I just wanted something like comforting. And because I wasn't feeling my best, I didn't end up going out Saturday night, which really did keep my expenses a little bit lower that day. So my Saturday total was $17.95. So if anybody wants to try to add up the total and guess before I tell you, now would be the time to pause the video. My overall total for the week was $290.97. So you might remember from my last video, my weekly goal is about $200. So if you took out the $100 for that photo, I actually stayed in budget. Part of the reason that I try to stick to $200 a week is so that I'm staying around $1,000 a month. So that's roughly $800 when you put 200 times 4. And then I always account for some random expense in the month that's around $200. This month that happened to be photos. In the past I spent haircuts or a headboard for my apartment or just like random stuff like that. So even though it wasn't factored into this budget, it was factored into my overall monthly budget, if that makes sense. So I feel pretty good about the $290.97 per week. It's definitely a little bit on the higher end, but it's not unobtainable for me, I don't think. So that is everything that I spent during this week in my life. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know a lot of you want a video on how I budget and log my finances. I am definitely down to do that. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to kind of structure that video because I feel like I don't do anything special and I want to make sure that it's as helpful as possible for you guys. So if you have any other recommendations or requests, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me per usual. And I will talk to you guys next time.